I'm Mark Wright. Get ready for Fat Science with Dr. Emily Cooper, a brand new podcast dedicated to the science of why we get fat.
I'm Dr. Emily Cooper. I've been treating patients with metabolic issues for over 25 years. I'm on a mission to raise awareness about metabolic dysfunction and why diets don't work.
Hi, I'm Andrea Taylor. I've been fat, very fat, chubby, morbidly obese, and done almost every diet ever invented. They all worked until they didn't. I've known Dr. Cooper forever, but when I became her patient and we learned metabolism was the real problem, wow, everything changed, and I've never been healthier.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I also have metabolic syndrome, and I have Dr. Cooper to thank for the best health of my life. Here's a taste of what you can expect on the show. And when you were only getting 800 or 1,000 calories a day, what did that feel like? Were you just constantly starving?
Terrible.
Yeah.
I was always hungry. I could smell food from like miles away, I think. It was terrible. It was terrible. But I mean, I think people thought they were doing the right thing. I don't think they were, torturing me. Well, they knew they were torturing me. But, and it would work for a while. And then, I couldn't live like that. I would go back to my normal thing, which was never overeating, by the way, ever.
Dr. Cooper, any reaction?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the diet you're describing that the doctors put you on is called a very low calorie diet, VLCD. That is the medically supervised diet. That's a medical diet, and that is still prescribed today. That is the definition of it. And so unfortunately, they put you on a diet that's pretty standard in the medical field.
And the reason that we're talking about both calories in, calories out, and diet damage is because they're just inextricably linked. As Andrea is describing, even as a young person, Dr. Cooper, that deprivation and how hungry she always was. Let's talk about what's going on in her body as that was happening. What's going on?
Well, as Andrea mentioned, you're so engaged with this diet and counting calories and worrying that you're going over the diet and that you're eating too much of this and not enough of that, that studies have actually shown that that sense of food, what we call it food restraint or eating restraint, that sense of that actually slows your metabolism down. So your brain catching on to the fact that you're actually concerned that you might be eating too much and that you're working so hard to restrain the amount of food that you're eating can shut down the processes in your metabolic pathway to help you conserve energy and store more body fat to protect you from yourself and from your own intentions. So that alone isn't good. And you can imagine years and years of putting your body through this, how the trust in your system, as far as like food availability and food security, it really dissipates. The trust dissipates, and then it becomes even harder to regulate body weight in a normal range.
Dr. Cooper, I'd love for you to talk to maybe a parent out there who has a child who has excess weight. What would you say to that parent? Because I think the natural inclination of a parent who doesn't know about metabolic dysfunction would be to say, well, let's keep Billy from eating this and that, and let's restrict his calories. What would you say to that parent? What do they need to know that they don't know right now?
Well, I would say there's nothing wrong with focusing on a healthy diet. That's good for all of us. It has nothing really to do with our weight and where our weight is. Eating foods that are free of chemical additives is just really good for our health, and getting all the food groups in, it's great. But if your child has an elevated weight, what we don't want to do is turn towards decreasing their energy intake as a means of lowering their weight. Because in the end, what will happen is it will trigger that body weight defense to kick in and their metabolism to slow down. And that could lead to a lifetime of problems that are worse than anything that that child's facing today.
I think it was called Slenderella, the name of the exercise place, because you didn't really have to exercise. I went with my mom, and the machines did the exercise for you. So we were really into that. We thought that was really good. Like, you sat on a machine and it sort of made you go around like this. And we thought that was really good. and it said how many calories. And maybe we didn't measure it in Snickers bars like you do, but we did probably maybe measure it in bread and butter. I don't know.
So
But
it's like you were riding carnival equipment,
it
thinking that you were losing
yes.
weight.
And it made your legs go up and down like this. It was fantastic. It was actually really kind of relaxing and fun.
Join Dr. Emily Cooper, Andrea Taylor, and me for Fat Science. We're going to learn a lot, but this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional medical advice.
No diets, no agendas, just science to make you feel better.
Our first episodes drop November 13th. New episodes drop every Monday, wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Wait, does this podcast make me look fat?